Hello and welcome to Logan Random Aquascaping. My name is Logan, and in today's video I want to show you guys how to trim moss in your aquarium without making a huge mess and ruining your carpet. So a little bit of an update on this tank. About a couple weeks ago we finally made it out of the algae and the diatom phase, and things are beginning to look really nice. I've got a bunch of shrimp in there, I've got a school of autosynclists, and in the previous video I added a school of 20 flamingo fancy guppies, and I'm just having a blast with these guys. So it was finally time to trim the Fissidens fontanus, which is the phoenix moss in there. And I'd been putting it off for a while because I knew I wanted to get through the algae phase, and I knew it was gonna be a messy process. And lastly, I knew I was gonna need some help. So today I'm gonna walk you through my step-by-step process for how to trim moss in your aquarium. And this really goes for any species of moss without making like a really big mess and having the moss get stuck in the carpet and choking out other plants. So the main challenge with trimming moss in your aquarium is, unlike other aquarium plants, when you make a cut, the plantlets and the particles don't float up to the top of the tank. Normally you'd just be able to, scoop out trimmings of Monte Carlo, but with moss, they sink right down, and if you have a carpet, they'll propagate really easily. It can ultimately choke out your carpet and kind of take over the tank. So it's really important that as you trim, you remove the trimmings, otherwise it's gonna take over your tank. So in order to do this, you need one of two things. You have to either be really crafty and good at multitasking and partially ambidextrous, or you need some help. The basic concept is that as you're trimming the moss, you're gonna be sucking out the trimmings with the siphon. So I've seen people do it solo. They've either zip tied a siphon to their scissors, or they've been operating the scissors in one hand and the siphon in the other. So it can definitely be done, but fortunately I was able to recruit the help of my roommate. And funny story, the night before we trimmed, we were kind of up late. I was playing some guitar, she was singing with me, and she, just killed a whole bottle of wine.
Who's that lounging in my chair? Who's that casting devious stares in my direction?
When I woke her up at 9 a.m. to help me trim the tank, she wasn't too happy, but I was really appreciative of the help. So once you've got all your materials together, and again, you're gonna need a siphon and you are gonna need some scissors. I recommend either curved scissors or like really short scissors that you can get in little nooks and crannies with. And you're gonna get started. And the basic concept is you will be operating the siphon as you're doing the trimming. And you wanna keep the siphon really close to where you're trimming at all times. Once you start the siphon and you begin trimming, you're just gonna work your way all over, and don't be afraid to go super low with the moss. Kind of treat it like a carpeting plant, where you want to like hack it way down and make room for that really new lush growth. So as long as you leave anchor points and you don't completely remove it from the wood or the stone, you're gonna be okay. The lower you go, the more compact it will come in and the more lush it will grow. So here's the big challenge with this method is you're removing water from your tank, and odds are you're gonna run out of water way before you're finished trimming. Trimming can be a really tedious process, and if you're a perfectionist like me, you want to take your time. So here's what I do, and this will protect any sort of delicate species you have in your tank so that you're not switching up the parameters on them. Once your bucket or container is full, you can actually put that water right back into the tank. You just want to be very careful not to reintroduce those moss particles into the tank. Otherwise, you're kind of back to square one. So what I did is I poured the bucket over the tank, and be very careful while you're doing this, but I poured that water through a very fine net that was over sort of a wired mesh colander, and that sort of filtered out a lot of the moss particles and prevented them from going back into the tank. And you'll repeat that process for as much water volume as it takes to get through your trimming. I think I had to fill and then empty that bucket about 6 times as I was doing this. I really took my time and got nice and low. And like I said, you just want to be careful that you don't, suck off the moss off the wood or the stone, but go as low as you want because it's gonna come back really beautiful. And then once you're done, like I always say, take a step back and observe, look out for any spots you kind of missed. It can be easy to miss like the backside of wood. You really want to take all that down. And this is going to be a really good process because it makes room for more growth. And if there was any like residual algae or diatoms from, sort of the rough opening phases of your tank, it's going to help to get rid of that. And then the shrimps and the ottos can come in and kind of nibble off any remaining pieces. So I hope this method helps you out. Like I said, I love having moss in the aquarium, but for many years I was afraid to keep it just because I was afraid of the big mess it would create. So once I kind of figured out this method and tested it a few times, I thought it'd be really important to share it because I think moss just looks really cool. So thanks a lot, guys. Oh, and by the way, did I mention I'm rocking some new Mosscotton gear? This is a company started by my really good friend Yuri's, and you've probably heard of it by now, and if you haven't, I'm sure you've seen other aquascapers wearing it, but this is a new tee from the Aquascaping type collection, and this is the Amano shrimp one, and when I saw this one was out, I had to get it. Love Amano shrimp. They're some of my favorite inhabitants in the tank, so this one is just perfect for me. And the thing I love about these tees is that they really do fit me perfectly, because I'm kind of like a shorter, stocky guy, so a lot of times I'll buy something off the shelf and it'll fit really awkwardly around my chest. I've got kind of a wider chest for a guy of my height and stature. It'll be too tight in the belly, maybe the sleeves will be really wide or something. And these just kind of fit like a glove, not too tight, not too baggy, really nice in the arms. They kind of make your physique look a little bit better than it is, and you know, who doesn't like that? So if you want, check out the website. I've got a link in the description. You can use Logan10 for a 10% discount. And yeah, that's all I got for today. So thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the new one. We'll be setting up a new tank soon, so stay tuned. Bye-bye.